So Darth Sidious, what does the Catechism say about Satan? Because Darth Sidious, Palpatine, the Emperor Palpatine, has some great connections to Satan. The Catechism of the Catholic Church quotes John 8:44, describing Satan as a murderer from the beginning, a liar and the father of lies, a murderer from the beginning. How does a Sith apprentice become a Sith Lord? They kill their master, a murderer from the beginning, right? Revelation chapter 12, verse 9 says that Satan is the deceiver of the whole world. We see this with the Emperor. We see this with Palpatine. He's the deceiver of the entire galaxy. Obi-Wan Kenobi sees sees Anakin Skywalker in the hologram. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He sees him slaughtering younglings, taking over the temple in Operation Nightfall. Okay, he's ending it for the Jedi as much as he can. Obi-Wan goes and visits Padme, Anakin's wife. And he says to Padme, he tells her what Anakin has been doing, all of the things that he's been doing, killing younglings and all this stuff. And Padme refuses to believe it. She said, no, not Anakin. And Obi-Wan tries to explain to her, he was deceived by a lie. We all were, he says. The entire galaxy was deceived by the lies of Darth Sidious. A liar from the beginning, the father of lies. The way that Sidious tempts Anakin, watch it, in especially Attack of the Clones, Episode 2, and then Revenge of the Sith, especially in the Opera House, right? The galaxy's Opera House, the conversation between Sidious and Anakin, where he's really tempting him. And he says to him things like, you don't need guidance, Anakin. In time, you will learn to trust your feelings. Then you will be invincible. I've said it many times. You are the most gifted Jedi that I have ever met. Those are dangerous words. You don't need guidance. That's ridiculous. We all need guidance. We all need the Lord. We need the church to lead us to truth. He says to him instead, in time you'll learn to trust your feelings. That's dangerous, because our feelings want to lead us into sin. We have this awful thing called concupiscence. It's the tendency to sin. We all have this desire, this longing to want to sin, to get ourselves out of trouble or to get into pleasures that we want, right? So to just trust our feelings is a dangerous thing. We all need guidance. We're all broken. We all need the Lord. And we all need the church and the sacraments. What ends up turning Anakin Skywalker? It's love, right? Concern for his wife, Padme. That's what turns him. And the same thing's true for us. We don't wake up in the morning and decide, I'm going to be a murderer today, bucket list, check, yes. Okay? We don't do that. Why do we end up falling into evil? Because there's something good in the evil that we see, and I want to achieve that. Why did Anakin become a Sith? There's a few reasons. The Emperor, for example, promised him that there'd be order in the galaxy, that there'd be peace, and the Clone Wars would finally end. Yeah, those were nice things, but he also promised him that his master, Darth Sidious's master, Darth Plagueis, had learned how to keep people from dying. And Anakin was all shook up because he's having these dreams that Padme is going to die in childbirth. And he wants to save Padme, and Sidious knows this. And Sidious tells him about Darth Plagueis. And finally, Anakin asks Darth Sidious, is it possible to learn this power? And Sidious says, not from a Jedi. That's part of his big temptation to bring him over. And what's he using? He's using the good in Anakin, his love for his wife, his concern for his wife and his children, to bring him over to the dark side. And eventually, of course, Anakin does. But when Anakin does, what happens? We're in the Emperor's office. Mace Windu's in there. This is the part where Mace Windu gets betrayed and he dies, and Anakin falls and he becomes Darth Vader. And what does Sidious tell him after this is all said and done? Oh, the power to prevent somebody from dying is a power that only one has achieved. But Anakin, I'm certain that if you and I work on it together, we can achieve it too. Liar! Liar! Right? Why didn't Anakin call him out on this? Anakin's like, I pledge my allegiance to you, Darth Sidious. I mean, come on, Anakin, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, you told me we could save my wife. Are you kidding me? You guys know in baptisms, maybe, I don't know how baptisms are done in your church, if they're done after Mass or during Mass, but when they do baptisms, what do they say to us? Do you reject Satan? I do. And all of his works? I do. And all of his empty promises. And what does Satan make to us? Empty promises. What does Sidious make to Anakin? Empty promises. And unfortunately, Anakin doesn't know that the promise is empty. that he can't save Padme's life until he's already crossed over to the dark side. The same thing's true for us. Don't we fall into sin that way? We think we're choosing a good and we fall into sin, and then we go, oh, did it again. Empty promise again, right? And then we get to confession, which I'm really excited for you guys. Confession will be available here later today. Take advantage of that sacrament. Repair those wounds and those relationships with God and let him heal your heart. God heal mine as well.